Yeah.
So you light all of this yourself,
Yes, I do light it by myself.
and where do you get your models from?
It's kind of a snowball system, and most of them are all friends of mine. They ask me, and so they recommend other people, and it's like a very private circle. Some of them are really repetitive. Like, for example, the lady here with the snake is the same that is downstairs in the bar, the big horizontal painting.
Yes.
Valeria. Most of the people I know since a long time.
How about the modelling? The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. Or have I got that
Yeah,
wrong?
right, yeah.
How about her? She's
But that's
incredible.
Vika, that's her probably, this one. Yeah.
She looks so different there.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
There's
She's.
a bunch of different, I think there's 2 or 3 different
Where
ones.
was the inspiration from that? Because she's like a gypsy from, like she could be ancient gypsy, voodoo kind of.
Maybe, I don't know.
The way
She's Russian.
Is she?
Yeah, she's Russian.
The way you've got her looking like that is one of the most unusual paintings. It still gives me shivers, you know?
Yeah, it's more fun to work with real people instead of having AI.
Well, I mean, if you've got the choice. I mean, I
Yeah.
use AI as a reference simply because I can't afford a model.
Models are cheap. You can have them for, I don't know, for free most of the
Yeah,
time.
because you're quite fast. It'll take me 100 years to. I'm going to start asking Mezzo to model for me.
Yeah, she
soon.
wants me to
Yeah.
model. I sometimes do, you know, like if I see something that doesn't quite sit with me, like a hand
Yeah.
or foot,
Oh, it's so good
I
that
will
you'll say, you know, that
share
leg is wrong,
my
or-
hand or foot kind of thing. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I noticed with you, one of the things that I love about your work is that actually you seem to have the right balance where it's believable by the mind,
Oh, yeah.
but you do what you want.
Yeah, I think they always have to be a big disappointment paintings. You don't have to make them too perfect.
Yeah.
As they say, if you don't have any ideas, people start with technique. To think about technique, which is true. I think the works downstairs have a lot of brush hair and I don't know, imperfections, fingernails stuck in the paintings. Because I want them, when you go closer, that you feel how they fall apart.
Yeah.
And then you go a step back and you see it's kind of this illusion that is popping up like a ghost. But then when you go close, you more or less really disappointed that that's all. Is that all there is?
Not if you're a
That's it.
painter, right?
Well, yeah, but
if you're a painter, you
I like
go,
that game. I
Me
don't
too.
want to make them too perfect.
Yes, Bill. And how do you feel about magic now? Because I know that's been
Magic?
a huge part of your sort of.
Magic is magic. Magic is painting.
Mm.
Painting is magic. So I don't see a big difference in all these illusion techniques and belief systems and what makes the Mona Lisa the Mona Lisa. The same that makes a magic wand. Kid is believing in the magic wand. We believe the Mona Lisa is one of the best paintings we know. Who says so?
Yeah, I don't.
Finish some small details on that one.
Yeah.
So your work travels with you, even like the current works.
Well, I brought them.
Mandrake Hotel.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yes.
Beautiful, right?
Or if you have a current work in progress, and then you're traveling, for example, will you take that picture with you?
Yeah, on
or?
the phone. I have it always on the phone.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can't. I mean, I do quite big ones, and I can't travel with them, of
Yeah.
course.
Huge, aren't they?
But I always bring this little watercolor. In my room, I have a little watercolor studio because you can pack them in a bag. That's it.
So, someone who doesn't know your history, what did you do? Did you go to art school? What led you to this practice of these kind of quite Richard Kern-esque photos? And how's it developed? What's your story? What's happened?
I've been shooting people since 35 years.
So you began as a photographer, or?
No, but I began using other reference material. Since one day a guy came to my studio and said, I took that picture, it was from a Burlington ad I took out of Vogue magazine. And the photographer who did the actual shoot came to my studio and said, I did that shoot. And I said, oh, that was the point where I said, I can't use other people's material anymore. It was a long time ago, 30 years ago.
Wow.
What was his name? I mean, it's not about copyright or all that shit. It's just about dignity. I don't want to use other people's ideas.
Yeah. You know, working
And so with the photography, do you consider, like, I don't know, I know you as a painter, so like with the photography, do you see that as being like sketches?
Yes, I see them as sketches because I was trained in painting, of course, with nude painting and all that, as we all do probably. But you can't keep a certain, or at least I can't keep a certain emotion or a certain glance when you have a real model sitting there for 15 minutes and she's like, it's impossible. And I think the moment photography was invented, it was used by artists immediately. Monet, everybody used it. And I use it, I rarely expose the photographs. I don't even have them online, nowhere. I once did a book like 15 years ago on photography, but that was it. So I keep them really for myself I have a huge amount of pictures on the hard drives, thousands of pictures, which nobody has seen so far. And I keep them really as sketches for paintings. And there's also photography that doesn't need to be painted because it's already
Perfect.
self-sufficient in the medium of photography. But some of them are just like really like ideas or fast glimpses of ideas.
So how often do you shoot?
I have a photo studio in my painting studio, an extra, especially made for photography photo studio, and I shoot maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah. For 2 or 3 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a tenderness to your male nudes that I rarely see. Either they're heroic or bold or male nudes, but you have the same tenderness as I think that you treat the females, which is really hilarious because you have so much criticism from mainstream.
I know, it's terrible.
They're such idiots because they don't even see your male nudes, and they don't even understand the mastery that you have to use, to paint these paintings.
Yeah, but people just want to see what they want to see.
Yeah,
that's the point.
that's true.
And there's a big witch hunt these days, and also there's a big danger of how do you call that, censorship.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against people who are woken up or are awake, but I think the whole thing gets a bit out of hand when, for example, I am not allowed to paint what I want to paint because I'm a middle-aged white male or so. So they say, fat people may only be painted by fat people.
Yeah.
That's politically correct. But I can't paint. If I paint a fat person, then it's already discriminating. So if I paint a fat woman, that's even more discriminating. But I don't think it is because it's art.
But the word discrimination is fascinating because to have preference and to have choice and to be able to use discrimination in a positive light rather than a negative puritanical kind of existence, it's quite an interesting word, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's, we paint, why do we paint? We paint for pleasure. We paint to portray what? What's your drive for painting, for example? It's like
Anger.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
sure.
What again?
Anger against everything and everybody.
Mundanity and
Maybe even against myself.
yeah, it's got to be against yourself,
Could be.
right? Fundamentally, it must.
I
play
try
with
to
it
change
like
the
this.
world.
Yeah, I mean, same, right? I know.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. See, that's my motivation too, is to kind of progress.
Yeah. What reason? What else would you have?
That's all I think. I haven't got an answer on
You
it.
think
Just do more.
yeah.
Hello. Oh my God, come in.
Look at this, lovely.
Oh.
With some sparkling water in here.
Oh,
Very nice.
So
Put it
lovely.
on this table.
Just explain what your relationship is and why you got him involved.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, my name is Kate Spencer-Stock, and I work with the creative team at Mandrake Hotel. And Martin Eder is a very close creative source of inspiration, friend of the Mandrake, of our community and our network, and our creative director and founder of the Artist in Residence program, Mag Mastanak, was working with the owner to find a way to be able to engage Martin into the space and into the hotel and really showcase an important part of his practice, which perfectly complements and mirrors what we support within the hotel, which is this investigation of the Gothic tradition, and specifically within a contemporary context. And so we're proud to be able to welcome him to showcase this new body of work, to draw inspiration from the architecture, the climate, the sort of design direction of the hotel as it mirrors his practice.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Hopefully I credited Mag enough. Mag is currently setting up downstairs for the reception, so I don't want to take all the credit in terms of everything that's going on. She's working hard, but she really is the, her specialism really exists in a lot of what Martin naturally does within his practice, not just within the context of painting, but actually music and performance, and sort of that Gothic as an epoch tradition of sort of cultural practice is something that Mag is an absolute, library of information. So I'm learning a huge amount in that regard.
It's interesting that isn't it? How the Gothic tradition keeps reforming in architecture and in all the arts, actually, even in literature.
Bram Stoker. I think it's a very interesting distinction to make sure that people studying or engaged with Goth culture revert to the fact that the Gothic period is an epoch, it's a time frame, and just in the same way that the Romantic period, the Baroque period, the Rococo period, and all of the disciplines and schools of thought that sort of come out of this has historical foundations, and that's something that we definitely are going to be talking about tomorrow in our breakfast discussion. But the notion of looking at Bram Stoker's novel as a real kind of historical milestone within the sort of literary sense of expression of these themes, and making sure that comes first, and then understanding why, whether it's emo, whether it's Wednesday Addams, whether it's that like these other sort of iterations that might be considered gimmicky or might be I'm not saying that they are, but it's not so much about saying that they are wrong or right, or sort of it's understanding where the history comes from and where those schools of thought and the concepts and the infrastructure and the structuralism comes from, to then understand like how it's changed or evolved or been regenerated, and where like the commercialism aspect is, where it's been sort of reinvented or evolved for what reasons, and again becomes a part of that sociocultural
Because
fabric.
cinema's got to be a massive part of your practice, right? Cinema feels so deeply involved in your painting.
Yeah, one day when I grow up, I will make a film.
Oh, really? Oh my god, that's amazing. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Have you got it all planned out in your
Yes.
head? Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.